How does a filmmaker show an idea? I want to show you a technique director Derek Cianfrance uses to communicate abstract concepts visually in A Place Beyond the Pines, an underrated film from 2013 that I really enjoy. A Place Beyond the Pines is about the passing of the torch, how our legacy can affect our children and those around us. Our actions have consequences, and those consequences echo out from us, affecting those around us, sometimes for generations. This is something we understand almost instinctually about real life, but it can be difficult to show this in a movie. One way you could do this is to tell the story non-linearly, showcasing the connection between actions and consequences. But director Cianfrance decided to tell A Place Beyond the Pines linearly, in almost 3 separate stories. So how can you show the relationship between 2 events that happen minutes, or even hours apart in a film? How do you connect Luke Glanton, who is only alive in the first 50 minutes of the movie, to his son, who is only on screen in the last 50? You do it like this. On the special features section of the Blu-ray disc, director Cianfrance talks about how many of the scenes have echoes later in the film, visual motifs and reoccurring locations that show you how you can feel connected to someone's legacy even after they have been dead for 15 years. With shots like these, we can connect a father and son's free spirits and a shared love for riding. We can connect their crimes.
You've been charged with criminal possession of a controlled substance in the 3rd degree.
And show how they develop similar friendships. These visual connections help the audience understand relationships between figures who are hardly on screen together.
He's yours. You want to hold him?
A scene toward the end of the film, where Jason visits the place his father used to live 15 years earlier, visually echoes the scene where Luke sees the trailer for the first time. These 2 scenes are over an hour apart in the film, but when I edit them together, you can see how they almost interact with each other. The feeling of connection that the characters are feeling in that moment is visible to the viewer. Our memory is triggered, and we recognize the composition of the scene from before. It puts us emotionally in the shoes of the character.
Come on, I'll tell you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're calling him back.
Cianfrance doesn't just use the echoes to connect father and son. He uses them to compare and contrast. Look at this scene where Jason eats ice cream for the first time with his actual father, compared to a later scene where he eats ice cream at the same place with the man that raised him. This second scene could have happened anywhere, but by placing it here, the presence of Jason's real dad looms over the entire moment, in the same way it looms over his entire life, and we immediately tell that this line
He's not your father.
didn't stick.
You want another one?
Would you leave me?
The similarities between the scenes where Luke and Avery try to give money to Romina help drive home how the conflict that entered her life with Luke will continue well past his death.
Hey. Hey, don't worry, it's okay.
Would you still?
Your house, okay? I want you to have it.
I don't know what that is.
You don't have to ever even see me again. Just take the money. Bro. Bro.
We can see, just through the visual subtext, how this relationship has had an impact on this one.
I just saw that.
I'm a cop, Jet. I'm a cop.
The scene where Avery picks up Luke's son from the crib echoes an earlier scene where Luke comforted and held his own son. we can see how this child has had an impact on both men in a similar way.
Benny, you gave a hell of a speech yesterday.
And by putting these two scenes at a pool, reinforces how Avery had a strong connection with his dad, but lacks one with his son.
Oh, perfect.
Film is a powerful medium for storytelling because it gives you so many options for how to communicate ideas. Seeing France uses these echoes to almost get inside of your head at times, as if the viewer was affected, but might not understand why. I think the themes in Pines are most strongly communicated visually through Sean Bobbitt's beautiful cinematography, and the staging and locations of each scene.
Watch as they ride their motorcycles upside
You ever ridden
down
one of
with the
these
inches
before?
of each other at speeds you can hardly comprehend. Come on, everybody, give it up.
I have only covered some of the echoes that are in this movie, but I will end with a side-by-side comparison of the first and last shots of the film. The entire thrust of the story can be summed up by these two shots. The generational evolution is clear. Jason is similar to his father, and it's easy to imagine him as a young Luke in this shot. But whereas Luke rides off into a cage, Jason rides off into freedom, to a place beyond the pines.